Now, release the dragon. Dragon. Now, I command you to bring forth the dragon. Jesus. The dragon. It's the dragon. All right, well, you guys know the drill. Let's go give this thing a bath. Get these dragon scales washed off of it, and now I'll give you the lowdown on this piece of garbage. Yeah, dragon. Woo! Yeah, dragon. In case you guys didn't know it, dragons love water. Ooh, dragon getting clean. And there we go. Dragon is clean. So now, in actuality, we'll do the little description of it, and I'm actually going to meet Teresa for lunch, and well, I'm gonna drive this. So maybe we'll do some in-car. Okay, well, boom. We got it all cleaned up. First step. Alright guys, we are in the dragon, and we are going to lunch. Of course, you probably have to be a lip reader to hear or understand anything that I'm saying. It's a little loud. But yeah, we're out cruising around. So we're heading to lunch. That's probably about, I don't know, about 15 miles one way getting there. But anyway, this is the first time this thing's been riding around in a while, actually. So, but all right, well, let me get off so I can concentrate on driving. Hot spotty life, baby. Up these harnesses a little bit. Yeah. Woo. Mountain Dew. Woo. Damn. This stuff will make you strong. Alright. We're headed back out to the facility. We're going to weld our tips on to our bullets, our race bullets. We'll be ready to head home and mess around. All right, here we are. You've seen it come out of its cave. We gave it a bath, washed the dragon scales off of it, the old dried ones. We took it to lunch, got something to eat, drove back out here, and did a few little nitpicky things to it, nothing fancy. As a matter of fact, let me show you what we did before we brought it out of its cave the first time. We did this. All right. You guys may remember that we took the exhaust. We got some exhaust to put on Trojan horse from a car. Well, now we're putting some exhaust. This is what was originally going to go on Trojan horse, but we're putting this on the other car. So we got to go ahead and weld it up. We had to do some lengthening on our collector bolt holes and stuff, and a few other little odds and ends. But other than that, we're almost done. We're ready to kind of stitch it together a little bit. So, all right, and then we will put it on the car, and it will be ready to go. I'll probably just lump this in with some other video, so whoopie-doo. But anyway, we're putting our little baby bullets on. So, all right, let me get this thing fired up, and not the jukebox. Ooh, this little thing. So, all right, let's go. Gotta go to work. See you guys later, or in a little bit, or whatever. Okay, we got the exhaust on it. It's sitting here percolating away. So it's about to run out of gas. I haven't put any gas in it. I don't even know. The gas is in there. God knows how long it's been in there. But you can see how long it's been sitting. Poor thing. We're going to wipe it down. It'll be ready to go here before long. And there you go. So what we did today is we finished up the exhaust, or finished it up. We put some tips on the mini bullets and whatever. They're on there. So I guess you guys have seen a little bit of this car. You may have seen it on YouTube here and there, whatever. I mean, or maybe not. I mean, there's millions and millions of Mustang videos, so just one drop in a pond. We've had this car since 2002. We bought it as a daily driver. It was bone stock when we got it. Still had the air intake silencer. It had a set of Midas mufflers on it. Other than that, stock as a rock. It had 184,000 or so miles on it when I bought it. It's an 89. And we pretty much left it stock, did some, mass air, did some mufflers, cane, just did basic stuff. But we just bought it just to drive it, really. And then around 2007, we started getting a little bit more racy with it, or whatever, racing it. We started racing it some. And we've put, I think this car has over 220,000 miles on it now. I don't know exactly how many, but we put right around 565 passes on this thing or so, and the short block is still stock. It's still factory bearings, rods, rings. It's never been rebuilt. It's never been out of the car. It's got heads and stuff on it. We'll go through that in a few minutes. But this car has been reliable. I mean, this thing's been a trooper. If anything was to ever break on this car, whatever. If the motor died in it, I'd be like, whatever. I mean, this thing has been a trooper. We've had a lot of fun in this car. Out of all the cars I've got, this is the one that would stay. If I had to sell all of it, if I could only keep one, it would be this one. Not necessarily because it's got the best parts. It's just, I've just had it the longest, and I'm somewhat the most attached to it. So anyway, let's go through and let's look at the motor and get a little bit of in and outs on the car and stuff like that. So we'll be back in a few minutes and just kind of wrap this up, I guess. Well, here it is, the little power plant that could, I guess. We'll just start at the beginning. It's got a 92 millimeter Pro M mass air in it, some homemade intake tubing. I say that, I mean it's homemade. I bought it piece by piece. It's got a 90 millimeter AccuFab throttle body on it. It's got a TFS-R on the car. The upper, if you saw the video, or I say saw it, any port in a storm, David ported the intake, the upper. It's got 30-pound injectors. It's got a set of out of the box twisted wedges on it. They haven't been ported or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I bought these heads used with rockers and push rods, and I've never put valve springs on it. It's got, on these heads, I've put 460 something passes on these heads. I said the car's got 563. I made 100 passes with the stock motor. We'll get into that more in a minute. But I've got 460 something passes on these particular cylinder heads with no valve springs, and I bought them used. So it's got a Missouri electric, or however you want to pronounce it, electric water pump. It's got a race crank pulley. It's got an old Anderson N4 cam. You can look up the specs. It's nothing big or anything like that. It's got a Northern radiator. This thing runs cold as ice. It's got a Black Magic fan. It's got some BBK 1 3/4 long tubes on it. It's got some mid-pipe extensions with race bullets and turn downs on it that come out about a little bit past the rear seat or the front seats. It's got a MSD coil. It's got a 6AL box in it. It's got a stock distributor, MSD wires. That's pretty much sums up the motor combination. The transmission, it's got a we'll do the transmission. It's got a QuickTime bell housing on it. It's an Astro A5. I bought it used. and it's a 26 spline. It's got a used Anderson high rev clutch that I bought off eBay. I paid $75 for it, and I've put 400 something passes on it. It's been a great clutch. It's got a quadrant, firewall adjuster, all that kind of stuff. It's got an aluminum drive shaft, and it's got an 8.8 with 456 gears. It's got 31 spline axles, C-clip eliminators, of course. It's got a girdle on the back. It's got a UPR anti-roll bar. It's got all baseline lowers. It's got the baseline relocated uppers. It's got strange adjustables in the back. It's got Lakewood 9010s up front. It's got subframe connectors. It's got caster camber plates. It also has a UPR chromoly K-member, A-arms, and coilover kit. It's got aerospace front drag brakes on it. And on the inside of the car, it's just got a couple glass seats and, you know, the basic Lightning stuff. And, you know, shifter, blah, 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 shift light. So it's got a VFN pin on hood. Now, this car is kind of a, if you want to say it, it's, you know, it's an expensive car, but I've had all this stuff. I bought all this stuff and put it on the car in like 2008. So it's been almost 10 years that I've had it together. Now, granted, I haven't raced it a lot in the last couple years, but let me tell you something. I wore this thing out in 2008, 2009, and in 2010. I put some passes on this car. It made a lot of passes. So that pretty much sums it up. We got a little duct tape on the front. You know, there's no front bumper, no rear bumper, stuff like that. Power windows still work. It's got a manual rack, Flaming River on it. I forgot that. So, you know, I'll probably forget all kinds of stuff. But I think I pretty much covered it. It's, you know, got LX taillights, you know, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah. We don't want to forget that. It's a way of life, boys. You're either stick or you're not. So, that's another thing, too. You got to drive it like you stole it. That right there, that's what you got to do to get these things to run, or at least that's what I got to do. Oh, it's also got a Canton oil pan on it. I forgot that. So solid motor mounts, solid transmission cross member mounts. Oh, it's got aerospace manual brake booster and stuff on it. So see, there's all kinds of little stuff I forget about on this car. So anyway, so that's it. We'll go back and finish this up a little bit and, you know, tell you a little bit more about the car. I know I sound like super motivated. I don't know why. I had a bunch of Mountain Dew today. You'd think I'd be bouncing off the freaking wall. So, all right, well, let's get over here and finish this up. Okay, well, you've seen the motor. You know what the transmission is, the, you know, rear end, the suspension setup and everything. So, like I say, this thing has been I mean, you know, if we drive home and the crank falls out of it, I have to salute it and say, you've been a heck of a trooper, son. Like I say, we made 500 something passes. We made 100 passes when the car was stock. I was told that I couldn't get this car into the 7s with a stock motor, which meant from the mass air meter to the factory headers, I couldn't mess with anything in between there as far as intake, throttle body, cam, heads, headers. I couldn't do anything with that stuff. I could mess with anything else around it, you know, take weight off, get rid of the AC, the power steering if I wanted to, you know, underdrive pulleys, gears, I could do all that. I just couldn't touch from the mass air, stock mass air, to the stock headers. I couldn't touch any of that stuff. And oh, I forgot, it's got a Modes quarter horse in it. See, I'm forgetting stuff all the time. So we accepted that challenge. And on drag radials, the fastest car ever ran on motor with the stock T5 and stock clutch, it went a 762 at like 89 miles an hour. And that was with the suspension stuff done to it, and had the boom tube on it and all that kind of stuff. But 762, I think the 60 foot was a 164. That was on a 235/60 drag radial. After we made 100 passes, that was just my goal, because I'd already bought some parts like the heads and stuff. So we pulled everything apart, pulled the heads and everything off, took the cam, put the cam in, did all that kind of stuff. We took it back to the track, And in all honesty, I had 24-pound injectors in it, so the car wasn't performing like I thought it would. It was kind of slow, and I was going to go carburetor. And David talked me out of it. We had met. I'd purchased an intake from him, and that's how we'd met. And he saw I said something about it, and he's like, no. So he come over, and we started piddling with it, and ultimately, the fastest this car has ever been is a 680 flat, 680 at 100 miles an hour, a little bit over 100. That was with 48 gears and a 27 or 28 by 9 Mickey on it, and that was also with a Systemax upper and lower stock. Well, it may have been light, the lower may have been lightly ported, but the fastest it's been with the TFS-R on it is like a 690 flat, I think. And then the fastest it's ever been with 26s or 456s with a 26-inch tire is a 692. And that's what the car has now. It's got a 456, and I put 456s back in it because I wanted to run 26s on all my cars just so I could swap. I didn't have to have a specific, who was that? See who that is real quick. It's Joe Nathan. Wow. It's Joe Nathan. He's going to track tonight. So anyway, the car has made 109 or 10 or 12 or something 6-second passes. I've got a double handful of 7.0s and all this kind of stuff. So it's been a trooper, and we're gonna start running it again and see if we can get it back into 6s. They're not going to get faster. It's only going to get slower because I'm just beating on it and never rebuilding it or anything, or freshening it up or anything like that. So we'll see where it's at. It's at some point we'll get it back up to the track and maybe get some good weather and get it back into 6s again. Oh, here comes a big double-bladed helicopter. So anyway, that's the car. If you've got any questions or any anything you want to know about it or anything like that, just feel free to ask. It's no secret. So anyway, as always, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching, and especially thanks for commenting on the substandard leader of Fox Body videos. All right, we'll see you guys later.